Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Gemini March 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off is, well, as far as March goes, the sun will be in Pisces from the 1st until the 20th. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time, well, there can be a lot of strong concentration of energy, attention, and focus put into idealism, compassion, even intuition, perhaps connected with career matters and matters with public image. This could also be a time, too, where when you're talking about Pisces, the negative on this is this could be a lot more passive energy and lethargic energy. So it might be putting, and you're talking about the 10th house of career, so you could do the math. I mean, it could be more of a period where you're spending a little bit more time daydreaming and fantasizing in matters connected with the 10th house, such as getting notoriety and your career and your public image and reputation. At the same time, this could be a good period for maybe showing maybe more altruism as far in impacting your reputation, and even sacrifice as well. And just make sure that you're not being too much about self-sacrifice, where you're doing things that might sacrifice your reputation, so to speak. So anyway, next thing up is, well, as far as March goes, the sun will be in Aries from the 20th until the 31st. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, there could be a lot of attention, power of concentration, and focus connected perhaps with really initiative and enterprise in their aspirations and goals. This could be about really showing a lot of concentration of energy put into really being more energetic, more exuberant, enthusiastic regarding goals and aspirations, and really perhaps wanting to shine in 11th house matters such as groups, organizations, doing things with friends. But at the same time, the danger in this is that one could be putting energy into combat and confrontation, perhaps with friends and acquaintances and groups, in matters connected with groups as well. And the danger is perhaps potentially being a provocateur, so to speak, or an instigator, especially if this is making a lot of adverse aspects to points in your natal chart, such as, for example, making a square, opposition, or even an inconjunct to your natal Mars. Obviously would not help. So anyway, next thing up, the new moon will be in Pisces on March 17th. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about something new that may be started, connected with one's career, that might be Pisces related. It could be something, for example, it could be something connected with chemistry or pharmaceutical work, illusion, something with the metaphysical, which can include astrology, oceanography, even something connected with feet, something where photography, filmography, or this could be a time too where you might be able to incorporate a new period where you incorporate more compassion and imagination and really self-sacrifice and idealism into your career, maybe impacting, maybe starting to get that more of a reputation for having those qualities. And maybe even in some cases, this could be a new kind of a renewed relationship with the dominant parent, which is often the father, where you're incorporating more compassion and sensitivity and self-sacrifice into it and empathy. So anyway, next thing up is, well, the full moon will be in Virgo on March 1st. So the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, this could be a point where Gemini might become simply tired and full, perhaps, of a judgmental or critical or overly persnickety or fastidious family member or someone they feel close to home with. This could also be a time too where Gemini might unleash some very strong, powerful emotions about their home life and their family, and one that could be might be a little bit verbose, over too wordy, and very critical and judgmental. It could be a verbal lashing at somebody they feel close to home with. Could be a family member. This could also be a time when something may culminate for Gemini that might be home related, that required a lot of organization and a lot of industry and hard work. And it might be too where maybe something of an analytical nature, something that required a lot of Virgo-like analysis, comes to a completion that might have been tied in to maybe finding out more about their own about perhaps whether it's traditions or maybe their roots even. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Mercury will be in Pisces as far as March goes, from the 1st until the 6th. So the 10th house is what is going to be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, this could be a time where there may be more idealistic thinking regarding perhaps their career matters, their public image and reputation, and maybe even and maybe shooting for the stars, so to speak, in terms of perhaps notoriety. Could be maybe done with more thinking, like through being more intuitive, but at the same time, when you have this Pisces energy, could be about fantasizing. So it could be more about where one is maybe fantasizing more about actually doing something 10th house related than actually doing something about it. And also it might be too where conversations with people prominent in one's career and with the dominant parent, with superiors, might be a little bit more ambiguous and cryptic than usual, and a little bit more hard to understand than usual. And just be wary of deceptive communication as well, Gemini, during this time, from people that could be connected with your 10th house somehow. So anyway, next thing up is, well, Mercury will be in Aries as far as March goes, from the 6th until the 31st. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So this could be a time for Gemini where they could be really maybe speaking in a more outspoken and aggressive manner with their friends, with their acquaintances, and really thinking in a way where the thinking might be very original and pioneering, and it might be tied in to maybe one's goals and one's aspirations, whether it might be maybe deciding to be more of an innovator, and also speaking out more in groups and in organizations as well at this time. So anyway, and another thing too about this as well is that Mercury is going to be retrograde as far as March goes, from the 23rd until the 31st. So at this time, I mean, this could be, you could still be showing that outspoken communication in terms of with friends, acquaintances, in clubs, organizations, or what have you, Gemini, but it might be with a little bit more review, and really and it could help because Aries energy could really be outspoken to the point where it could be very cutting and very hurtful, and the truth can hurt sometimes with people. So anyway, the next thing up is, well, as far as March goes, Venus will be in Pisces from the 1st until the 6th. So the 10th house again is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, Gemini needs to be wary and careful of perhaps getting some deceptive charm from people that are prominent in their career. Perhaps another thing is Gemini might be expressing more of a love for Pisces-like things, such as the metaphysical, which can include astrology, things that are of fantasy nature. It could be expressed perhaps with the dominant parent, which is often the father. It could be with people that are closely connected in one's career. And also that love of Pisces, like things, even altruism and compassion, the enjoyment perhaps in expressing it. This could be tied in perhaps to maybe having a positive impact on one's reputation. But keep in mind, the negative in this is that Venus and Pisces energy, and you're talking about the 10th house, so Venus and Pisces often, when this transit occurs, it could be more of a love of fantasizing, more of lethargy, love of relaxation. And when you have it in the career, you're talking about the career house, this is not always good, because you might feel more like, relaxing as opposed to actually doing things connected with your career at this time. And it could also be spending unrealistic amounts of money to maybe get more notoriety and recognition as well. So anyway, next thing up is Venus will be in Aries as far as March goes, from the 6th until the 31st. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini at this time. So for Gemini, this could be perhaps impetuous, really extemporaneous, aggressive spending perhaps on matters connected with groups, with clubs, organization. It could even be on friends perhaps and acquaintances. Also, this could be about some enjoyment of things of a combative nature with friends and acquaintances as well, such as doing things like boxing or even or karate, some kind of martial arts. And this could also be at the same time, looking at this, money. Venus is about money, so money may be made perhaps maybe by doing something with the military organization, or something with law enforcement group, perhaps. And these could be maybe tied in also with some kind of aspirations and goals that Gemini may have. If Gemini is unattached, they might find some love that might be a Aries Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply someone that embodies those characteristics. It could be somebody that might be introduced to them by a friend or an acquaintance, or they meet in some kind of group or club or organization. Anyway, people, next thing up is Mars will be in Sagittarius as far as March goes, from the 1st until the 17th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, this could be about Gemini perhaps experiencing philosophical differences, perhaps with a marriage partner or significant other. It could be somebody that they're in some kind of business partnership with. This could also be about a lot of, you could say, exuberant and enthusiastic energy put into things maybe connected with competition, negotiation and compromise, even in matters perhaps even with the significant other. And also matters with open adversaries, if applicable, might be a little bit more contentious and acrimonious than usual, and a lot of it with that Sagittarius veritable truth, so to speak. There also could be more arguments perhaps connected with other Sagittarius-like things, such as sports and religion, and it might be with that marriage partner and significant others. So anyway, well, the next side, well, one more thing about the Mars and Sagittarius in the 7th house for Gemini. This could also be a time where Gemini might be able to work off some anger and some energy, expending energy perhaps through some kind of sports outlet or through the outdoors. And it could be done perhaps with others in general, and it may be done with that somebody they're in a business partnership with, or it could be with the significant other. So anyway, next thing up is Mars will be in Capricorn as far as March goes, from the 17th until the 31st. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, this could be about where the situation perhaps with a sexual partner or someone that Gemini is in an intimate relationship with may be more contentious and acrimonious than usual. It could be about a lot of serious disagreements. At the same time, on the positive side, this could be a lot of disciplined and serious energy perhaps put into making a major change or transformation in Gemini's life. this could also be a time too where Gemini, in doing so, perhaps in making that major change and transformation, or even maybe this could be done, like I said, very consistently with a lot of that ambitious energy. And really, this could also be doing something, if you're making a major change or transformation, doing so working within the parameters, so to speak, and within guidelines and regulations. So if someone's trying to, say, make a physical change through working out vigorously, obviously there's less chance to be doing it using some kind of illegal substances, such as some kind of steroid use, doing so within regulations. And also, this could be, when you're talking about this energy, Mars, and you're talking about the 8th house, this could be a time for surgery as well. There's a little greater propensity for that with this energy, and it could be on something that could be Capricorn related, such as the skin or the knees or the bones, perhaps. So anyway, next thing up is, well, Jupiter will be in Scorpio still, so the 6 houses will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about a little bit more, well, I mean, I've talked previously about Jupiter, that it can be paradoxical, and even though it's very strongly benign and benevolent, it could also have the tendency to enlarge and expand things. And this could increase surreptitious and even nefarious activity within one's workplace and their employment, perhaps. And also, this could be, too, about expanded health issues, especially if this is in one's actual literal natal chart and if it's making an inconjunct to one's Gemini ascendant. This could be something where Scorpio related perhaps might come up as far as a health issue, such as something with the, you could say, the pelvic private area, or even something with the bladder, and it could enlarge maybe an issue connected with this that may have been there previously. At the same time, this could be about a lot of luck and through luck and fortune through making a major change or transformation in one's work environment and one's health. And also it could be something by making that major change or transformation in one's routine, and really maybe luck, maybe dealing with crisis and being very resilient, incorporating really maybe in terms of their work and in their health life. So anyway, also it's going to be retrograde, I believe the 9th, where it goes retrograde, so either at the 9th or close to it of March. So when that happens, this could be about a time where Gemini might be doing some reevaluating and perhaps reassessing, perhaps of maybe their enthusiasm, so to speak, and really their exuberance connected with something Scorpio-like in their daily routine, such as the astrology, the occult, supernatural, maybe even magic, alchemy, something that could be Scorpio-related in their daily routine. It might even be something associated with deep research, and they're going to maybe some reviewing and wondering if this is for them or not. So anyway, next thing up is Saturn will be in Capricorn still, so the 8th houses will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, this could be about really Gemini might be dealing with more restrictions and limitations and matters connected with making a major transformation or change. It could be something connected with sex as well, and the libido might be a little bit more diminished than usual for Gemini. Gemini is not exactly known for having an exorbitant libido anyway, but it might even feel like it's less, and there might be some disinterest, so to speak, sexually more so than usual at this time. This also could be a time for maybe taking some serious responsibility to surgery at this time, and it could be, I mean, something Capricorn related, such as something with the skin, the bones, or the knees. And any restrictions at this time might also be tied in to something 8th house related, such as making that major change or transformation, maybe taking care of debt. It could be just anything that could be 8th house related, and it could be something where it might cause Gemini to feel more despondent and melancholy than usual. So anyway, well, next thing up is Uranus will still be in Aries, so the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, this is a time for Gemini where they might experience more erratic and sporadic activity in matters connected with their friends, their acquaintances. They might be experiencing friends coming in and out of their life like there's no tomorrow, unusual activity with them. Maybe one or more are behaving more bizarrely than usual. At the same time, Gemini might be requiring more freedom to some degree in matters pertaining to their friends and their acquaintances, and also to pursue their goals and their aspirations and really be more in touch maybe with their future, maybe by doing so. And also this could be a time where Gemini might join maybe some club or organization that might be Uranus related. It could be such as something with an esoteric subject such as astrology. It could be something with computers, astronomy, maybe something that has to do with innovation, electronics group. And also too, this could be a time too where Gemini might be expressing more ingenuity in such that it's very pioneering, and might be expressing this with their friends and with group organizations as well. So anyway, well, next thing up is Neptune will still be in Pisces, so the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, sadly, this could be about perhaps in some remote cases, some dissipation and dissolving of one's career, reputation, and public image. It could be the relationship with the dominant parent as well, which is often the father. It could be that career matters might be a little bit more unclear and nebulous than usual. And also, really looking at this as well, Gemini might be, if they're looking for a change in their career, they might be trying to do something maybe Neptune related, such as photography, something with illusion, such as working as like an illusionist or a magician, special effects, some kind of photography, spirituality, or even the metaphysical, which of course could include astrology, chemistry, pharmaceutical work. Also at this time too, on in some remote isolated cases, this could be where the dominant parent, which is often the father, may succumb to some kind of alcohol and or drug use at this time as well. So anyway, well, next thing up is Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, this might be in some cases, I mean, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but of course, you know, as usual, I'm going to do it. So in some cases, this could suggest a literal death of somebody that you're in an intimate or sexual relationship with. This could also be a time too where this is about, really, it could be power struggles with somebody you're in an intimate or sexual relationship with. It could be about making maybe some major transformation with yourself through some kind of surgical procedure. And at the same time, on one positive end, I mean, this could be a figurative death of perhaps maybe tax liability at this time as well, or maybe some kind of insurance matter is finally comes to a close at this time. So anyway, and really it could really show too at this time as well. I mean, really one could become a little bit more, I mean, Pluto can be rather obsessive and sometimes even compulsive energy, and one needs to be careful not to be overly fixated and obsessed over maybe matters connected with a sexual nature, or with perhaps a sexual, maybe sexual partner, or somebody they're in an intimate relationship with. So anyway, well, next thing up is the North Node will still be in Leo, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, when the North Node is in transit, this can often be about confronting issues. So in this case, this could be about perhaps having to confront maybe perhaps a sibling or a neighbor that might be somewhat arrogant, overbearing, domineering, and also it's a time too where Gemini might be wanting to command more attention for third house related things, such as maybe doing things for neighbors, for siblings if applicable, and or maybe for some kind of writing that Gemini has done and wants to get more accolades and more recognition and attention and be lauded for it. Also, it might be a period too for Gemini where it might be time to be where they feel they need to be more extroverted and really more gregarious as far as their general communications go. Maybe perhaps with their neighbors, with siblings if applicable. And really, and also too, this is about really, it might have to be dealing with dramatic experiences, maybe somehow with short journeys or with neighbors and siblings as well at this time. So anyway, next thing up is the Black Moon Lilith will still be in Capricorn. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, when we talk about the Black Moon Lilith, it could often be about some kind of revelation or unveiling. And this could be the revelation or unveiling perhaps of a sexual partner or someone Gemini is in an intimate relationship with that might be somewhat ruthless, tyrannical, overambitious, and really showing very cold, undemonstrative qualities. Also, in some remote cases, this could be about maybe something that like the cat comes out of the bag, so to speak, that Gemini didn't want out of the bag, but comes out anyway, so to speak. And it could be maybe a depressing sexual life that maybe causes Gemini a lot of despondency and makes Gemini very melancholy, or it might be some kind of restriction or limitation connected with their sexual life as well. And maybe even something that maybe comes out as well. It might be, it might even be something like perhaps a formidable, in some cases, this could be a formidable adversary that is revealed at this time. That can be a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, and it could be somebody that it's 8th house related. It could be somebody, for example, that's in the occult, supernatural, or even somebody that maybe Gemini has done taxes with, or has done some kind of insurance matters with, or maybe even somebody they might be in some kind of shared business with, they're tied in with shared resources with. So anyway, last but not least, Chiron will still be in Pisces, so the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So anyway, well, for Gemini, this could be about perhaps some emotional wounds connected with confusion and maybe chaos in one's career. Perhaps it could be maybe over ambivalence and indecision in one's career. Maybe in some cases this could be about maybe victimized by something, which maybe their character, for example, that might affect their reputation or in their public image. Also too, this and another thing which is a possibility too in some cases as well, this could be about the dominant parent, or maybe an authority figure maybe that has succumbed to some alcohol or drug use, and Gemini is feeling sadly the repercussions from it and maybe suffering to some degree because of this. And anyway, but on the positive side of this, that remember that Chiron is the wounded healer. So in areas, okay, where Gemini might be going through emotional wounds and suffering connected with this energy, they may be able to help others out that are facing comparable issues, and doing so with that Pisces like empathy, compassion, and self-sacrifice. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Gemini March 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'm going to be talking about, in my opinion, the best astrological degree. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.